Being intoxicated is an open invitation for you to be sexually assaulted because you voluntarily allowed yourself to become incoherent. If that statement made you mad, me too. On March 24th, Minnesota Supreme Court dismissed third-degree sexual conduct charges against Francis Khalil on the fact that the woman he sexually assaulted had voluntarily consumed alcohol that night, so not meeting the legislative definition of mentally incapacitated. As we entered Sexual Assault Awareness Month this April, the Minnesota Supreme Court's ruling has brought media attention to the everlasting sexual assault crisis in America. Minnesota is only one of the almost 40 states that do not explicitly prohibit sex with someone voluntarily intoxicated. My name is Olivia Cullen, and today I will be telling you why you should support new legislation that would redefine the use of mentally incapacitated in court by explaining current legislation, sexual assault statistics, and how it can be changed. First, let's discuss the legislation currently in place. According to New York State penal law, the definition of mentally incapacitated states that a person is rendered temporarily incapable of appraising or controlling his conduct owing to the influence of narcotic or intoxicating substance administered to him without his consent. This definition creates a legal loophole. Because the legal definition states being under the influence of a controlled substance without the person's consent, willingly partaking in alcohol consumption does not fall under being mentally incapacitated, resulting in the inability to prosecute. District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. told the Washington Post that the New York law relies heavily on the fact that someone who is voluntarily intoxicated may not remember everything about the alleged attack, including whether they had consented to sex. Even worse so, the assailant must be able to say they were aware of the victim being unable to consent due to their state of intoxication. In a letter to Governor Cuomo, Vance fights these loopholes by writing, "There is no difference between an intoxicated individual's ability to consent to sexual acts when he or she was drugged, and an intoxicated individual's ability to consent when he or she drank alcohol or took narcotics." To really understand the issue, you need to know the statistics surrounding sexual assault. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, sexual assault is the most underreported crime in America, so it's difficult to predict the exact number of cases, but there have been studies done to help us estimate. According to a study done by the CDC, 18% of women reported being raped in their lifetime, and 1.1% in the past year. From this study, the New York City Alliance Against Sexual Assault has estimated that approximately 785,000 New York City women have been raped in their lifetime, and over 50,000 New York City women are raped annually. Of those 50,000 suspected cases, over half involve intoxication of the victim, and only 1,500 of those were reported to police. Victims of sexual assault more times than not see no conviction against their attacker, and the issue begins with the overabundance of unreported incidents. The explanation behind every unreported case is complicated and different for every person, but there has been research done to better understand. According to Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault, some of the most common reasonings behind not reporting are mainly due to fear. Survivors have cited the fear of retaliation, of the justice system, of even being believed, lack of proof, their family and friends knowing, and fear that police officers both could not or would not do anything to help them. Karen Wise, an associate professor of sociology at West Virginia University, has focused much of her research on the issue of unreported sexual violence. Through research, Wise has found one of the prevalent dilemmas in explaining the statistics of unreported sexual violence to be the victim's self-blame. Many times, close family and friends who are seen as safe confidants will ask seemingly innocent questions that will begin to trigger self-doubt in the victim, resulting in less of a chance of that crime ever being reported. This blame then begins to fester as shame, leaving an even smaller chance of reporting. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, out of every 1,000 cases of sexual assault, only 230 of those will be reported to the police. This means 3 out of 4 sexual assault cases will go unreported. Of those 230 reported, 46 will lead to arrest. 9 will be referred to prosecutors, 5 will lead to a felony conviction, and less than 5 of those will be arrested. Out of 1,000 cases, only 5 will see justice. How can we make those numbers increase? In the conundrum of voluntary intoxication and sex, Michael Buckhandler Raphael delves into the issue of non-consensual sexual acts committed against voluntarily intoxicated persons. He poses not only difficult doctrinal questions regarding the policy, but contentious normative and policy-based considerations needed to explore the proper relationship between social and legal changes. The conclusion reached by Buckhandler Raphael is that the criminal law should be used as an educational vehicle, pushing forth, promoting changes in prevailing societal perceptions and attitudes towards non-consensual sex. With new legislation explicitly defining voluntary intoxication as means of being mentally incapacitated, there is no excuse for assailants to not be brought to justice. Not only that, but it could lead to an increase in reports of sexual assault, as people feel more comfortable reporting when they feel that the law actually protects them. If passed, Senate Bill S6679C, sponsored by New York State Senator Alexandra Biaggi, would prohibit the use of intoxication of the victim to be used as defense in prosecution of sex crimes. The bill pushes to amend legislation to redefine mentally incapacitated to include persons voluntarily intoxicated if a reasonable person in the defendant's position should have been able to tell that the victim was incapable of giving consent. As of July 21, 2020, the bill has passed the Senate and been sent to Assembly, but there has been no movement since. You too can help pass this bill into legislation. One easy step is to visit the New York Senate website at nysenate.gov and vote in favor of Bill of S6679C on their online poll. Another step could be to contact your local assembly member and push them to vote in favor of Bill S6679C. If living on the New York City campus, you are part of the Assembly District 65 and can contact your assembly member, Yulai Yao. If not on campus, your assembly member and contact information can be found on nyassembly.gov. While awaiting approval of new legislation, there are other steps you can take to fight the sexual assault crisis. As written in The Conundrum of Voluntary Intoxication and Sex, there is not a single answer between social and legal change. 1 in 5 college women experience sexual violence during their time in school. You can be a part of breaking the cycle and pushing for that social change. Join and advocate for on-campus organizations dedicated to promoting healthy relationships, supporting survivors, and ending on-campus sexual misconduct. Some great organizations to begin with on the PACE NYC campus include Peers Advocating Against Sexual Assault and Active Minds. Francis Khalil is only one of the innumerable attackers that have not been held accountable for their actions due to the legal loophole protecting them. A person's voluntary consumption of alcohol or narcotics should not hold them accountable for a crime committed against them. New legislation changing the legal definition of mentally incapacitated is the next step in sexual assault prevention and prosecution. By introducing you to the legal loophole in legislation, the statistics surrounding sexual assault, and Senate Bill S6679C aiming for reform, I hope you too will push for social and legal change surrounding sexual assault and voluntary intoxication. Thank you.